Hi guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. Hope release has been treating you well. I know there's been no real content over the last 2 days. I've had a lot of stuff on. It's been an absolute crazy time, but we're back. We're here. Everyday uploads again, starting from right now. So this is the first episode of a new series I would like to call Albion World News, of which I want to tell people what's going on in the world, what's happening, what's going on. And that's my plan. So we're going to be going over leaderboards, we're going to be over GVGs, potential fights, like big clashes of guilds or alliances. We're going to be talking about all that stuff here. So let's get started. So going through first, the first thing we're going to look at is the leaderboards and the rankings. So as you can see here, we see a lot of War Legend, War Legend, War Legend, War Legend. War Legend themselves are doing incredibly well right now. Obviously, Spout is the crafter, so we understand why he's so high right now in terms of, obviously, his ability to, his fame. Kukai of Orcs D Kanduras, again, the crafters. Rain, crafter. Ace refines. So, crafting, refining, it's very, very common. We see it all the time. Another crafter for Orcs Kanduras. We start moving on then to Dream X is the top currently non-gatherer, non-refiner player. He's at 2.2 million fame within 3 days of release, 4 days of release. It's absolutely insane. Their ability to do this is just crazy. I can't believe that they're managing to do it this well. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. So War Legend, you see them here. War Legend, Kostan, obviously different alliances, but Kostan's the crafter / gatherer, refiner for Money Guild. Wolfire, War Legend. We see War Legend basically holding all top 20 spots for anything outside of crafting or gathering or refining or anything like that, which is really, really impressive. It's very, very impressive to see them do. And what attributes to this? Obviously, we had the interview yesterday with Vulcan. What attributes to this is the fact that they've really rushed to get to them castle farms, and they've just been farming the castle all day, every day. And now that they can do that, they can take it in turns, they can swap people out as they need to, and that's pretty much what they're going to do. They're going to keep swapping people out, and they can just get an infinite amount of fame so quickly. And because they got to that first, it means that they just have an advantage on everyone else until people start to catch up. I think we're not going to see anyone else really taking too much off them in terms of like fights right now. The masteries they must have, the gear they must have access to right now, it's just crazy. So looking here, 2.2 million. I'm trying to work out roughly where that puts you. That's at least T7 that he's already got. In fact, they'll be working towards Tier 8 now. It's insane. Obviously, that's Tier 8 equipable. They won't be able to craft it or anything yet, but they'll be getting there soon. So very, very impressive to see that done. Oh, I do apologise for that. That is actually me being told I should be getting up by my phone. So kill value, we look at this and we see a different story. Grief, Guildless, Hammer and Sickle, Guildless, Filthy Casuals, Shadow from Tetrafy, Cubic from No Life. So again, Grief holding the top 3 spots. They've done nothing but gank right now. Look at these reputations, my friend. Minus 15k, minus 16.5k, minus 14.5k. Veton's come back. We've heard so many stories about Veton, GM of Grief currently. I think we're going to see big things out of these. I think they're just planning on causing mayhem around Carleon. So make sure you're aware as you're going towards Carleon in the next couple of days, because you do not want to be finding one of these on your path. Moving on, then you've got people like Guildless. I think this is actually ganking still. Let's have a look. It is. You can actually see, if you click on people and look at their things, you can sort of see where the fights took place. Look at the reputation. It's pretty easy to know. You can then typically get a sort of feel for which guilds are doing what. Hammer and Sickle, we've kind of got one person there. Filthy Casuals have obviously got a group going, trying to do it. Grief obviously have a group going. Shadow is the only Tetrafy for a little while. So, yeah, like, you basically start taking some of these names in that are in the top 10. Keep an eye out for them. If you see them, you know what's coming. Get out of there. Do not be there. You don't need to be. And it'll help you stay alive in the long run. So, Yeah, I mean, great that they've managed to get so much kill fame in such little time. You imagine how many kills that actually is getting 2k a time. I mean, it's 226 killed players in 4 days. That's insane. Actually, 3.5 days. I mean, Vton's 260, Trainwreck 224. Like, it's pretty insane some of the kills that these guys are getting. Very, very impressive. Moving on then, we're going to look at Territory Zone. We're going to go into this a little bit more later on in this sort of episode. Money Guild are doing really well, actually. The fact that, obviously, they're the only one really of their alliance that are up there. Other than that, it's Echo of Silence, Echo of Shiro holding 22 between the two guilds. War Legend Swarm and War Legend holding 22 again between the two. Obviously, they have got Hammer and Sickle. We're seeing basically the top 3 alliances right now. Eat, Fame, EWA, so the Echo of Silence Alliance, the War Legend Alliance, and the Money Guild Alliance. They're sort of the big titans in the game right now. They're the big players, the people that we're going to see a lot of fights between, a lot of contention for Mercia control. So moving on then and looking at guilds. In total fame, War Legend currently has 108 million total fame, with 86.9, nearly 87 million coming directly from mob fame. That is absolutely incredible, absolutely insane. Don't know how they've done it so much. They really must have never slept. Very impressive that they've done it. These guys are really pushing to be first at tier 8 for their weapons on the server, and I think they're definitely going to be there. Realistically, obviously they've got a lot of people there in the alliance that help sort of allow them to do this. They've got 300 members right now. Money Guild have got 214, and they are under half. So War Legend have just had such a good start into this. War Legend, if you see the members out of there, they've got a big alliance, they've got a big guild, they've got a strong guild. Just don't contest with them right now, unless you're in one of the top guilds and obviously you're looking for that fight. On pure masteries alone, they've probably got at least a tier on you, as well as the fact that they can wear like 4 tiers above most people. So other than that, Money Guild, Nilfgaard, Tea Party, Echo Silence, all names. I mean, the top 10 names are names that we've seen all over the place in like Beta 3. War Legends obviously come back as the reincarnation from Envy. So obviously War Legend was actually the original guild that sort of fell down into Envy and has now come back as War Legend. So it's interesting to see so many things. But again, we see Fame, we see Eat, we see EWA. We see Zerg as well. Obviously, we'll talk about that a little bit because that's a really heavily sort of contested subject at the moment. But yeah, them 3 alliances right now are the top 3 alliances. They are really competing for that top spot and doing a lot for it. And obviously, War Legend currently taking that just massively. Going on to kill value, Money Guild, Tea Party, done really well actually. It doesn't look like they've done too much when you actually look at it, just because if you actually go to players, none of them are in Tea Party. It's the first person that I can see there that's in that alliance is actually 13th, going down 17th, 20th, 22, 23. We're not seeing too many people that are actually really high up, but I mean they're pretty consistent with it. Obviously, I know that I've seen Derek in Hellgates, I've seen Fastnick and his group into Hellgates from Tea Party, so the top 2 have definitely had teams in Hellgates a lot. Third, then we have War Legend. Not surprising, they've got big groups at the moment. I imagine they're wiping anyone that comes near them to try and slow down their fame progression right now. We then have Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard's actually a bit of a surprising one. Again, we're going to talk about the Zerg Alliance a little bit later on. It's something that people are really sort of digging into, but truthfully, they're doing quite well for themselves, so fair enough. They're 4th at the moment for kill value. Kill value is not really something that's particularly weighted early in the release, just because ultimately it doesn't provide anything except we PvP more. But still, it's nice to be up there. It's nice to be, yeah, we have PvP'd. And then obviously we've got Greeth in the number 5 position, not particularly surprising. 26 members holding over 1 million kill fame. That's pretty damn impressive if I do say so myself. Moving then, obviously we have seen the territories. I'm not going to look at silver collectors and resource value because these guys have all got lots of silver, lots of resource, so it's really hard to judge off that. Well, then we're going to go on to the alliances. So, looking at the alliance kill value, obviously we saw Money Guild and Tea Party with the number 1 and number 2 spot. Fame have almost 4,000 members in their alliance now compared to the 1,363 members of EAT. It's not surprising at all that War Legend have naturally just become ahead. However, EAT has done a lot more PvP, a lot more successful PvP to be getting that kill value. If you work out, again, we were doing this on stream the other day, if you work out the difference in like how much kill value each member of that 1,363 would need to have compared to how much fame, how much kill value each one of them 3,729 would, the like fame per player is a lot higher in EAT. Moving on then, again, we see Echo of Silence. They're a lot lower in the, like, they're considerably lower in fairness, with about 300 members left. I don't think their focus is to PvP currently, it's to sort of get that territory control, and this is what we're going to see for the first week or two. It was all about securing them plots. We will go over the map in a second. It's all about securing them plots, securing them cities, securing areas of the Black Zone that you can call your home, and that's the big thing at the moment. So PvP isn't really the number one concern. In the next week or so, we're going to see a lot more GVGs coming through, a lot more people doing Hellgates, especially like all of the War Legend guys, all of the Fame Alliance, when they get out there farming, they're going to need something to do. They're going to be in Hellgates, they're going to be in GVGs, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Moving on then to Fame. So 405.4 million Fame currently from the Fame Alliance, ironically enough. They've had a great start to beta, as I mentioned earlier. We can actually see behind me right now, we see all of these gatherers from Fame War Legend running out to the Black Zone, which is hysterical while I'm talking about them on this video. But yeah, so Fame, 405.4 million. That's an insane amount of Fame gathered. It's just ridiculous. And that's with just under 4,000 members, like 3,700. Moving on then, you've got 1,363 and holding nearly 200 mil. So, EAT, Money Guild, that alliance, Tea Party Alliance, have done really, really well to keep up in percentages. Like, again, they're a lot more efficient Fame farming. Again, this is where I want to go into speak about Zerg in a second as well. The Fame per player in the lower guilds is actually a lot higher. There's just so many more members in Fame that it kind of drags it down for those people that have actually farmed. If 100 people have farmed 2 mil each, all of a sudden you start seeing where that Fame's come from. But again, Kings is one that's actually a bit surprising. They've only actually got, I mean, potentially like 3-4 guilds: Blackout, Filthy Casuals, 1, 2, and 3, Mercenarios. The other 2 are alts. So these guys have done really well as well. They're not quite as competitive as, again, the top 3 alliances. We knew these were there, but they've done well. To have a 1,400 member alliance, they're a real strong force at the moment as well. Moving on then to Zerg, Police, and Nilfgaard leading that. These are a 450-man alliance, and they are holding 60.7 million total Fame. The efficiency on these guys is incredible. I'm going to get hate for saying it, but these guys have done really well to hold this level of Fame progression with the amount of members that they've actually got. They are only 15 million behind the next guild up, and they have less than a third of the members. They've done really well. The fact that they've got some territory started, they didn't have the best start, neither of them, but they've certainly recovered it and done really well. Again, moving on then, we see, Carita, Faraco, Fleet Overlords, and Headhunters holding a 56.5 with 510 members. They're doing really well as well to keep up with Nilfgaard and Zorn. So fair play to these. They're the smaller alliances. They're not quite there to be jumping into the fights with the big alliances, but they're doing their own thing and they're being very, very successful at it. Moving on then to look at the territories owned. Fame currently owning a massive 79 territories at the moment, with EAT holding 45, Echo of Silence holding 41, Make Albion Great Again. This is a sort of alliance that isn't particularly well known. They haven't done too much in terms of Fame and stuff like that, but they've been really on point to pick up those territories. This is Honor and Glory, Dark Rage, Jokers, Rest in Pieces, Sovereignty, and I can't say that word. Ruin, and the other one. So yeah, we're seeing some smaller alliances sneak into the top 10. Number 10 spot is only 4 territories, so a lot of it is in the top 3 right now. If we actually look at it, that's what, 86 plus a 79, that's 165 territories owned out of the top 3. I mean, that's probably more than the rest of the alliances combined, which is insane. They own over half the map at the moment, but again, they've put the effort in. They've got the guilds organised there to do it, so complete credit to these guys. They've put the effort in to get it that way. So moving on then, we're going to look at the map. Well, first of all, we're going to start the royals. We're going to go around the royals a little bit, see who owns the cities. Utopia, not a very known guild. Can't say I know who they are. So to talk about the cities at the moment, the plots in the cities obviously don't go up for auction yet. However, the next time they go for auction and someone owns them, the money will be transferred, and that's how you'll start earning money from the city plots. So owning a city plot now is a little bit preemptive. However, it's not the worst thing in the world. Owning one in a couple of days is definitely going to be worth it. So we're going to see a lot more competition coming for these city plots soon. Moving on then to Fort Sterling, we have Indispensable 1. We saw Indispensable in Beta 3. They were a guild that actually had close on 1,500 members over about 5 guilds, I believe. And it's not surprising that they've kind of chose that they wanted to take a city and own that. Fair play to them for doing it. They've got it locked down. However, the lads guild are sat just outside, and that's a potential attack waiting to happen closer to the time. It also looks like Sun's right behind them. So, yeah, it's interesting to see if anything's going to happen with Fort Sterling. Fort Sterling obviously being one of the more major cities to see trades in. Lyndhurst isn't currently owned. Again, oh, it is currently owned by Ruin. So I can't see the flag there. So again, a lot of people picking it up. You've got Sovereignty sitting just outside. I think they're actually part of the same alliance. So that's pretty cool. They've got this whole area on lockdown. I think they own all of it between their alliance. That's a different one there. But yeah, it looks like other than that, they own pretty much all of this area up here in that alliance. So fair play to them, they've got that area on lockdown. And then Bridgewatch, we've got Memento Mori, which own outside. They own enough to keep themselves afloat just outside. I believe House Stark is actually with them. Beware Die Weltons. I actually believe this is a German guild that we fought just towards the end of Beta 3, didn't know who they were, and they actually won in the GVG, which was quite impressive from these guys. So they kind of came out of nowhere and did work, which is pretty cool. So I'm interested to see what's going to be happening with the major cities in the next couple of days. We've still got Echo of Silence in Carleon. They actually attacked that last night versus Orcs de Conduris and won. So good job, Echo of Silence. Interesting to see if that was going to swap over. Carleon being a major hub at the moment, I would not be surprised to see fights here every night when people start getting round to it. Moving on then, we're going to look at the Black Zone. We're going to start with the Anglia content, starting from the left. So we're already seeing some fights here, Nilfgaard and Gentlemen. So Nilfgaard have got a territory down here. They're kind of settling. They've realised they're not going to be able to settle particularly well in the high outlands at the moment. They're taking the territories they can, and fair play to them. But it already looks like they're trying to assert their dominance and move around the field. Other than that, you've got Headhunters just securing their area at the top, not putting too much effort. I believe Headhunters and Overlords are in the same alliance, so they've got this locked down up in this top corner between these sort of 6 plots. It also has the city plot here. So what I was talking about before, city plots are, in fact, we can actually click on this and have a look. You can actually build buildings and level them up, so you don't have to keep going back to town. You also get a crafting resource return. So it's so good to have a Black Zone city plot. It was such a priority for every guild, every alliance. Alliances can obviously share them. But yeah, guilds, if they can get them, it's so ideal for them to get them. And I think that was pretty much every guild that wanted to be in the Outlands, their major rush. So it's going to be interesting to see these ones are the ones that are going to be worked towards in terms of being attacked. We see Headhunters up here holding this one with Overlords down here. So they own both sides of Gustel, and they've got that area kind of on lockdown. So interesting if we're going to see Nilfgaard sort of move up here and try to put some pressure. Moving down the map here then, Again, we see Zorn. They've got their city plot. Again, they've moved into high, sort of low outlands. People were judging them for this, but I mean, they're a small alliance. They've got to do what's best for them, and if this is what's best for them, then fair play to them. They've still done a really good job with their fame and being efficient and things like that, and they've still ultimately, they're still one of a few amount of guilds that have managed to secure a city plot in the Outlands. So fair play to those guys. Other than that, we're starting to see some attacks, so this is what you're likely to see. A lot of guilds attacking the farm territory in the same zone as the city plot, rather than going directly to the city plot, because attacking the city plot means that they gain defender bonus, and that makes it very, very difficult to actually take it when they start getting up to 25%, 50% increased stats. So they're going to attack the farm territory, take that away from them, and then force the fight between the two territories. Which also mitigates the defender bonus. Very smart play. This is exactly what we've been doing in other places, so it's not surprising to see. But moving over this way, we've got Blackout. Blackout are down here at the moment. I believe they actually owned this at the start. Tier 8, not a guild I've actually heard of, or Trider. Actually, Trider was in Beta 3 at some points. But Blackout look like they've kind of got this area on lockdown. They've got this city plot here and this city plot here. Moving into sort of fleet territory. We then have this GG Alliance and the... I'm trying to think of the alliance. I believe it's like the Fura Alliance, which is fleet, headhunters and overlords. Fleet have got a good 4 territories on lockdown. Blackout looks like they're going to move in and try to put pressure. So interesting to see if there's anything going to be happening here in the next couple of days. But other than that, I mean, the GG Alliance have got these 3 territories on lockdown. They've got no attack from their side, so they've got everything pretty well locked down there. Mercenarios holding that. They've got no real pressure. I think Ad-Honorous were actually in the same alliance, so there's not too much of an issue there. I can't see much happening in that area. That's a really secure territory for them to take. They could potentially have pressure from the GG Alliance, but they already own a city plot. There's no real reason. We have started seeing siege camps actually be used to attack Outlands territories, so we're going to get some more GVGs and fights over the next coming days, which is going to be really cool and interesting. So in the Black Zone, a lot of people have tried to settle into the low outlands, mid outlands, just to get in there and start working and building a name for themselves. Obviously it's very efficient to be able to live out there, so it's interesting to see a lot of people putting time and effort into doing it. Moving over here then, so we've got a little bit of a mess going on here. So we're starting to move into the right hand side of Anglia here, and we've got War Legends, High 5 owning all of this, and we're already seeing attacks trying to push them out of this area. War Legend owning a territory here, War Legend Swarm owning a territory here in low outlands, a city plot, sorry. So they're looking to try and get this area on lockdown. They're already pushing out people that have attacked them. And here we see a siege camp attacking a territory, a watchtower territory, which is War Legend actually making that attack. Then attacking Orcs de Canduras, which is being attacked by Cage. Cage, the people own this territory, who are attacking Goodfellas and moving across. So everyone's kind of attacking one zone across. It's really interesting to see that we're getting these back-to-back fights already. People are trying to attack each other, put each other out. It's really cool to see. Moving up here, we're seeing this flag come up a lot. This is Titans. Titans is actually a guild that was very dominant in Beta 1. I've heard lots of good stories about them, and they seem to come in and settled really well into current meta. A lot of them haven't played the game for a while, so it's interesting to see that they've kind of just slotted in and they've done just fine. We are seeing a couple more fights up here. The main fights that we're going to be looking for over the next couple of days are the fights regarding territories and the fights regarding city plots. City plots being such a key part of it that you're likely to see people looking to try and take the territories around them, force the fights of the city plot, and then continue pressing their advantage. So moving on, we're going to go to the Midlands. Midlands, we're starting to see a couple of the same flags now. It's less of a variety, and it's harder to... This is a lot harder contest in here. So talking through this, we've got Hammer and Sickle, which is part of the Money Guild Alliance, I believe. Millennium, which is part of the Eat Alliance. Millennium again, part of the Eat Alliance. Infinite, I believe, is part of the Eat Alliance. Titans is part of... Let's actually have a look. Titans is part of the Fame Alliance. Let's actually just have a look. Oh, Infinite is part of the Fame Alliance. So what we're seeing in Midlands in Cumbria at the moment is that Fame, EAT and NWA here, as seen by Echo of Silence, is all around this place. Solar have managed to get themselves a city plot and a territory. They've just sort of kept themselves to themselves. They've managed to secure the zone away from it. They've kind of kept a couple of territories. They're just trying to keep themselves and lock this area down. They've done really well doing it. It's a really good one to be able to hold from there. Would be nice for them to be able to hold this. But Solar is a guild that we didn't really see too much of. We knew of them in Beta 3, but they've done really well this time, being a competitive guild. And like I said, they've locked themselves down into the Black Zone at the moment. But the biggest fights at the moment seems to be between the Fame, the EAT, and the NWA, that's not the one, EWA Alliance in Black Zones. So moving on then to Mercia, and Mercia obviously being the most important one. So what we saw from this on day one is that we saw Money Guild and War Legend trying to roam around this as much as possible and just taking territories, taking city plots. And what you'll notice is that each city plot is owned by a different guild. Moving around the map here as we have a look, we've got Millennium, we've got, let's have a look at a couple more, we've got Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard did actually manage to secure a plot up here as well, so they've kind of got one at both ends of the map, which isn't ideal for them, but it is what it is, you take what you can get, right? But again, another city plot over here, which is Money Guild. So Money Guild have got a couple, but I believe they are also sort of the main guild of that alliance. It's not particularly surprising. You've got Gentlemen, you've got basically Fame and EAT own the entirety of Mercia. So while people are a little bit skeptical about this, about them being able to own an entire continent, they're going to be fighting each other a lot. We're seeing Siege Camp launch, War Legend onto Money Guild. If I actually just zoom out here, we see a War Legend attack onto Millennium here. We're seeing so many fights go on here. We've got another attack here, which is Money Guild onto War Legend launching the attack. Another attack, War Legend onto Money Guild, War Legend onto Money Guild. Like, we're seeing so many fights here. This is going to be a massive, massive feud. And guys, if there's anything I can suggest, it's keep an eye on these two alliances. People are going to want to watch these fights. It's going to be a good fight to watch between the two, trying to secure their areas of the Black Zone of Mercia. And obviously Mercia having the highest tier resources, highest tier zones. It's going to be something interesting to try and grab. So guys, this is the end of this episode. Please tell me what you think of me doing something like this, probably a weekly thing, just to keep you up to date on what's going on the leaderboards, what's going on the map, who the new sort of feud is between the drama. Hopefully going to get some special guests on here. If it's something you like, leave a comment below. Tell me you like it. Leave a like. Give me a subscribe. I've just hit 1,500 subscribers, so thank you ever so much for that. Other than that, guys, we're back to uploading daily. Thank you for watching and catch you later. Goodbye.